Hey Cornell, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
Hey. Okay, so the first thing I'd start off with, which you touched on too, is your history with basketball and becoming a business owner after that. So a lot of times I like to ask former players what transferable skills they see from, on the court and off the court and how you're able to use that in business.
Sure. Because it's different when you play a team sport. You know it's not about you. And I didn't know I was a bad teammate until I started coaching basketball. And when I started coaching basketball, I started realizing that you have to have a Sherpa culture when it comes to team sports, which is it's cool if you get up the mountain, but who are you bringing with you? And that's the most important lesson when it comes to the translation to business. So when I opened up my own business, I opened up a business training kids first, Crossroads basketball. And it was just me running everything. It was like, I had no one saying, okay, this is the way you run a business or this is what you're supposed to do. And when I start to have like a little team of coaches, etc., my first thing is you'll never beat me to the gym. I'll always be there first. And that came directly from basketball. Nobody that works for me or works with for me or whatever will never beat me into the office, never beat me into the gym. It's impossible unless you get up at 3 a.m. Good luck. So that was the first thing. And I wanted to let them know that I'm going to work so hard that I'll be the pace car. You're going to always have to catch me. And if ever comes a day where you're outworking me, then kudos because you're doing some almost inhuman type thing. So showing up early, being the example, being the pace car, and then treating them the right way. It's always them before me. So basketball and life, basketball and business, there is a direct parallel between the two. All my life skills have helped me get through basketball, dealing with so much adversity, and all my basketball skills has helped me get through business and talk to teams. I go to these companies, Kat, where these guys, millions and millions and millions of dollars, they know nothing about teamwork. They know nothing about team dynamics.
I'm one of my old bosses, but he wasn't really my boss, like an indirect boss, told me about the game. Actually, I don't follow basketball at all, but to your point, I was all about me when it came to sales and business. Like I was very driven. I became a store manager and the store was run the way I wanted to run it. And if you couldn't get on board with that, then I'll do the job for you. Like I don't need you to get out of my way type of thing. And this guy, he's like, yo, Michael Jordan was great, but Magic Johnson was better, in terms of teamwork and camaraderie and all of that, and just to that. But
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I do. So it's semi-accurate, but it's only accurate in the beginning of Michael Jordan's career. But they didn't start winning championships until Michael Jordan started taking his teammates with him. So as soon as he brought his teammates with him, he was still great. He was still the best player of all time, but he started making them great around him. So he built the level of everybody else. And there's an African phrase that I love. It's South African. It's called it's Ubuntu, Ubuntu, and that means I am because we are. So if we're all in the same village and say, Kat, you have millions of dollars and I'm struggling, that means the whole village is doing bad because you haven't passed that down, not just the money, but how to access that money. And they say, like, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach a man how a fish, he eats for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I love that. And there's so much selfishness in our society right now, especially around money. So I love that you brought that up. That's not realistic and that's not how you get to be a leader. You need your people not only to like you, but to believe in you and see the vision and see you implementing it and acting it out because they're never going to care about it as much as you do. And you have to be okay with that.
Lead by example. Like, be that person. Like, your people should want to strive to not be you, but follow that kind of that blueprint until they can create their own. It all started when people ask me like how I get into speaking. They think that I did someone's like master's course or some like Johnny Smith's coaching program that's going to give you thousands of gigs. It wasn't that at all. In 2012, I was on Facebook and I was reading my timeline, and it was just ultra negative. And so my friend got me a book of positive quotes, and I took a quote out of the book and I put just for what I don't know, like I know now, but I just put the quote on Facebook, and a couple people liked it. So I'm like, okay, every day I'm gonna take a positive quote from this book and I'm gonna put it on Facebook. So I started doing it every day, and then uh, one day I woke up after a couple months and I couldn't find the book. It was like 5 a.m. I couldn't find the book anywhere. So I'm sitting like, crap. What am I gonna do? And so I wrote my own quote. And people still liked it. So I'm like, well, screw the book. I'm just going to write my own quote. So I started writing quotes. So 2013, I'm coming on a basketball clinic, and my phone is just going like literally can't like it's like it sound like it just is going nuts. So I thought I had the heat too much, and I'm like, what's going on? And I open it, and I'm like, what's happening? Just buzzing, and I flip over, and I have like 500 Twitter notifications.
Oh my gosh!
So I'm like, what just happened? And I'm looking, and there's a sea of people that retweeted this quote I did. And I'm like, oh, the quote's pretty good, but I'm like, it's not my best. Like what? Like what's? And I go all the way to the end, and Tony's retweeted that quote. So if Tony says like, woke up today, like a million people retweet it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, this is nuts. So every couple of weeks, he would retweet a quote, and all these people would do it. It's like, what's happening?
Right.
And so then I tweet out, looking forward to going to Date with Destiny with @TonyRobbins. And then I get a direct message from Tony. And he goes, Cornell, as you know, I retweet a lot of your quotes. I'm looking forward to meeting you. So I told my friend Evan, I said, well, who does his Twitter? Who does his, like, which one? Who on his team does that? They reached out to me. That was very nice. She goes, he does his own Twitter. And after I wrote him, I said, hey, I went there honestly to see how you were as a speaker, but I got a lot more from it. I want you to write, I would love for you to write the foreword to my next book. It's such a great lesson on like never being too big to help people that society might deem might not be on your level. Yeah.
And I think for his effort in doing that, I mean, it's a tremendous example, like you were saying, to get to that point in your life and still remember and take time for the little people, you know, to act arrogant on LinkedIn and to belittle the people who are supporting you. It's like, did you forget how you got there? It was from people like me, you know, not be so proud.
Yeah. There are people that don't know who Tony Robbins are. There are people that don't know who The Rock is. They just look, you rock in your little bubble.
Yeah.
Outside of that bubble, there are millions of people that have no idea who you are. We can take you to Africa. We can take you to India. We can take you to Saudi Arabia. People don't know who you are. Right. So it's like, be like, in terms of that, be humble.
How the executive coaching program ties into everything else. I know that the focus needs to be on the CEO level in terms of emotional intelligence and team building and culture. And of course, as a leader, as we were discussing, it's very important that they do set the example. But should the people below them also care about these things? And then to what extent? And also, is that like your target audience, or do you just focus on the leadership?
Yeah. So the executive coaching, when I first started doing it like years ago, I realized something. There are a lot of executives that feel like they don't need coaching at all. So for me, when I get into corporations, I say, hey, you know what? I'll go and I'll talk to your employees and you together, you know, or I'll speak to upper management first, and then they'll come with the employees. I'll do a whole speech so they get it. There's a lot of ego, as you know. There's a lack of EQ, as you know, at the top. So that's what I talk about. And I can put all these messages in a story, not some like 9,000 slide presentation. So people can get it out of stories, because everyone needs to hear it. Everyone, from the top to the person on the bottom, like you all need to hear it. You need to realize the totem pole goes this way, not this way. Because if you start thinking the totem pole is some vertical thing, then you're going to be looking down at people. Right. And looking to the left and right at your employees.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing. I've never heard anyone describe a totem pole that way. And selfish about it, but like in the sense of taking away those toxic people and the toxic energy in your life, where you'll be able to be more fully your full self. That's good. But the way that I think it was encouraged is to just be a doormat to other people and call that sacrifice, you know?
Yeah.
and what good is that? Like, you're
not at all.
Yeah, and then you'll have nothing left to give eventually.
Yeah, I love that. Do not be a doormat. Don't be a doormat. No, but thank you so much. This has been so great for me to get a chance to talk to you and just share ideas, and I appreciate you so much. It means a lot.
Yeah, likewise. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Jersey City soon.